this is Åsa with a new process video. Do you remember when I did the moose project 1 or 2 videos ago? I said that I was going to do that kind of project again, and now the time has come. I'm going to make a project with all of these photos, and they were taken last year. It was the first day of vacation, summer vacation, last year. We worked on Friday, and then on Saturday morning we headed out on this beautiful little weekend trip of us. We rented a cabin and we did lots of adventures. And the first thing that we did was that we went on a railroad trolley biking. And I know there are several kinds of trolleys, and this was the kind where you almost sit like on a bike saddle, and you bike bicycle your way on the railroad. And I was so nervous. I don't really know why I decided that we should go on this ride, but it was something that I had totally got my head on. I had this idea that we were going trolley riding, and I was so nervous. I felt that this will be so hard. It will be an adventure way beyond my nerves, and I felt that I was so out of shape that I would never really manage the ride or anything like that. So my kind of expectation was really, really low and really scared and everything. And then we reached the place, the station, where we were going to jump on these trolleys, and everything became a lot better, I must say. When I saw the trolleys, I felt that, oh, this perhaps I can get onto that saddle. It's not too high, and probably this will look good. We had nice weather. It wasn't raining, and that was one of my concerns, of course. It's always the weather when you're out and about. And then we packed our things onto the trolley, and we had good plans with food to bring with us on our little ride there. And we had this kind of trolley where we had 2 sets of pedals. So we had one trolley, and both hubby and I were making it move. We are biking, and the kids had this little bench they could sit on right next to us. And then we went on our way. And it wasn't at all hard, and it wasn't at all scary or anything like that. It was just super fun, and I remember the whole ride. I was just so relieved. I can make this. I'm doing great, and my family is with me, and the sun is shining, and we're having a great time. And yeah, the relief was enormous. I'm very happy that we went on this ride, because it was so special. My imagination from the beginning was that it was going to be silent, but it wasn't at all silent. It was a really noisy kind of ride, and that I think depends on the trolleys. And the trolleys that trolley that we went on, and the railroad that we traveled, was very noisy. And perhaps I can show you a little video of the ride. I was filming as well. Just wait a second. Yeah, there we were. I must film more. That was fun. Yeah, what was I talking about? We had a blast. We just went on that little trolley there to a little lake, and then we had our picnic there, and then we turned the trolley around and we went back to the station. So a couple of hours, and it was just amazing. It was such a wonderful start of vacation. We did this at like the first thing on vacation, and it was both symbolical and so much fun. A little bit about the scrapbooking then. I had started off with a yellow background, and that will not last very much longer than this, because I feel that this is just too much of everything, and I will go white in just a little bit. I'm dividing the photos according to a little plan that I had stored with the photos in my photo storage. And I seem to have had a plan for a long time to make 3 layouts and 2 inserts, 6x12 inserts. And I realize now why I haven't done these before. I think that when I made the plans, I felt that I was going to do them one at a time. And that's really hard, because at the same time you want them to go together. And just like I did with the Moose Park photos, I felt that it was hard to just sit down and do them, because it felt difficult to do the whole project if I was going to do them one at a time. But when I had made the project with the moose, I felt right away that I'm going to do this project in the same manner, and therefore I'm going to do everything in one sitting, and it will be 3 layouts, and they will all go together, and they will have the same font, and they will have the same colors, and the same, everything will be the same. And then I decided on a color scheme, and I'm going with the red because it's red. The trolley in itself is red, and then I wanted to go yellow because it's such a wonderful color to combine with both green and blue. But then I will just take away the yellow and do everything white instead. Here I have one page with the photos that are very similar to the one that you saw on the little video clip. It's one photo of me, it's a photo of the railroad, and it's a photo of the kids sitting on the little bench beside us. And then on the other side is a like panorama photo of the lake where we had our break. And I started off by cutting too much, so I got a too narrow strip, and then I tried to do something about it by placing everything on black cardstock, and then I changed my mind because I didn't want to have everything else on black cardstock, so then I just making the photo a little bit longer by adding black at one of the edges. Sometimes you just need to do some damage control, and this is the result. And I think that I managed to hide that black piece of cardstock really well. The red strips here, they are resembling the pipes that the trolley is made out of, and I'm going to place those so that color, that cardstock is part of every project, of every piece of this project. I had already started gluing the photos onto the background, so I'm going to rip everything off, and it will ruin the cardstock, of course, but in the end it will be a lot better than it would have been if I had placed everything on yellow. Sometimes my sense of color and what is okay is a bit off, and I have realized that it is a cardstock problem for me. I tend to want to work on colored cardstock, but then again, when the project is moving on, I like to take that away and work on white or off-white or something that is a lot more subtle. So here is the color scheme that will be on the finished project. That pattern paper there, I felt that it had a nice transition from the deep red towards a little bit more muted, and that was nice, I thought, and it will also be present on all the pages. Now I'm feeling a lot more confident, so I'm gluing the strips onto the paper, and I'm also going to adhere the photos right away. And this is much more what I was looking for. These two pages will go side by side in my album, and I'm doing my best to get the strips of red cardstock at the same height on the layout, so that it will be a continuous pattern from the left 12 by 12 to the right 12 by 12. And now I'm going to try and see what I can do with the placement of on the left side. I will overlap a bit, and yeah, that was hard to do, really. It's always something that is really hard to figure out where to overlap photos, if there is room for overlapping. Here I'm placing that wavy sea lake photo on the page, and I felt the entire time that it became a little bit top heavy, but I will put a rather large title on that page as well, so it will become a little bit better. Now I'm trying to see what I have left of the papers, and I have a fairly large strip of the pattern paper, and then I have the same kind of cardstock that I made the paper strips out of, and now I'm going to make background sheets for the 12 by 6 inserts out of those. So I'm piecing together the pattern paper and the cardstock with a piece of white cardstock in the same kind of texture as the background pages for the three 12 by 12 layouts. And this, I think, is a very fun way of using up your scraps as you go, and at the same time make very interesting background pieces for the inserts. I end up with no scraps whatsoever of those, and that's just perfect. The problem then is to combine everything so that you don't obscure too much of the background with your photos. So I'm going to crop rather heavily these photos to make them fit on the page. And these selfies that my daughter took of us riding, they were a lot of her face and her cap, so I'm going to crop some of it away, and hubby will be present at a little bit of a photo on an angle from one of the photos, because I couldn't have both on my page. This photo of a little plastic jar of wild strawberries and crackers will be on the page, together with my daughter, who is actually making a little bit of a sandwich there by pressing the wild strawberries between two crackers. Yeah, that was her invention there at the railroad. And I thought that was fun to show on my page. So these will just be photos a little bit more messy, but still in the same style as the 12 by 12 pages. I have that little piece of plan there on the top of the screen, where I one time made a plan for these pages, probably already when I had ordered them from the photo company. And I will stick to that plan, because it was really good together with the photos that I had. When I sort photos when I get them from the photo company, I like to make some drawings if there are larger projects like this, because when I have many photos from one event, it feels good to just make a little bit of a plan, so that I will remember the plan when I sit down to make the photos, the layouts, sorry. Yeah, now the photo pages are done, and I'm going to make titling on all of them. And to keep the project together, I'm going to use the same font for all the titling. The font that I'm using is called Hastings, and I'm cutting it out of black cardstock on my Silhouette Cameo, and I've measured the size of the gaps on the pages before I decide the size in Silhouette Studio to make sure that it fits and that it fills the gap. This is so totally my style. I must say that I really love this way of making a photo page. I have a little bit of pattern paper, I have lots of photos, and I have big bold titles. And this kind of magazine style, I think that it is rather unusual on social media in scrapbooking these days, because it's so simple, and it's not a lot of product, it's almost no product at all, and yeah, but it is a style that suits a lot of family photos, and I must say that I will keep coming back to this style for vacation photos. It is totally my favorite. I think it's clean, and I think it's easy to watch. It's easy for non-scrapbookers to look at, and it brings out the photos. And I think that this Hastings font, it was a really good choice for the layouts. I wanted something that looked very clean, almost like it was a part of the railway station design, and still had a lot of character, and I think that it was a good choice. Here on this page I will write "Look out," and it's it's just to make the speed visible in the page. I'm having the date, or the year at least, on this page, and here I'll write "Wild Strawberries" on the track, and the layout with the lake view, it had resting by the Lången, which was the name of the lake. We saw that on the railroad map. And here also the wild strawberries and the red cardstock went very, very well together. That was a happy coincidence, I think. After placing all the titles, I have one little space left on one of the pages, and there I'm going to write some journaling. And sometimes I forget about journaling, but it's very important, and I'm going to just handwrite it on a piece of ledger cardstock and glue it onto the page. I felt that some of the titling got a bit lost since it was dark on dark, so I'm going over some of the pieces with a white pen, just where it overlaps the darkness of the photos, and that made it a little bit more visible. And I'm writing the date on the pages, on all the pages I think, and here I'm writing some extra journaling because I felt that it would be fun to have a wave line of journaling, just to give the photo a little bit more weight towards the bottom, since I had a top-heavy problem on that page. And now I'm sticking everything in the page protectors, and here is the finished project. I will come back to this type of scrapbooking because I feel that it is totally the best one for larger projects. And perhaps already with the Legoland photos I will do something similar, but I have so many photos there, so I'll probably divide them up into groups and do something similar, because that's also a project that will stay together and have a similar kind of layout. Yeah, here are close-ups of the photos also on the page so that you can see our vehicle. And yeah, I don't look too exhausted, do I? I hope that you have enjoyed this little scrapbooking video with a little vlog of our vacation last year. And I hope to see you soon again. Take care. This is Åsa. Bye.